Hello there. This is Zauberer coming your way today with a sermon. Today's sermon is titled Sermon on Six Legs. Our Bible verse is taken from Proverbs 6, verse 6 to 8. And I read, Go to the hand of sluggard, consider your ways and be wise, which having no guide, overseer, or ruler, provided some meat in the summer, and goddess of food in the harvest. The way to God for the children of God. Very briefly, I want to resume with you today a sermon on six legs. My brothers and sisters, the writer of the text before us is King Solomon. Solomon, you recall, reigned over the kingdom of Israel for a very long time. He was the second son of David in Beersheba, who knew what it was like to sit on the pinnacle of the renowned. He was reared as a royal prince, who came into power in the tenderness of his youth. It was Nathan the prophet who saw in Solomon the symbol of eternal forgiveness, and so he gave him an additional name, Jedidiah, for he was the beloved of God. But that is not what I want us to discuss today. I want us to look at this text because of what Solomon is talking about, and what Solomon is telling us to do, and also about the theology of the ant. Because Solomon doesn't tell us to look to the ant, but he informs us to go to the ant, that we may receive advice and counsel, and learn ethical wisdom on how the church should function as one body. Because through the Bible, God uses the animal and his set kingdom to speak to mankind. Let me just borrow a skinny minute and tell you some instances where God used the animal to speak to mankind. God used the roster in gospel to preach a sermon to remind Peter of his denial of Jesus. God also used a donkey in the book of Numbers to speak to Balaam. And even in the book of Proverbs, God uses special members of the animal kingdom to preach advice sermon for you and I. Even in the text before us, God uses a tiny creature like the ant to teach us a lesson about living and working together in the kingdom of Christ. Because the ant is the most successful of all social insects. And we, being the children of God, we have a lot of lessons to learn from the ant. Because many of life's greatest spiritual truths come to us through the most unusual things. Because we serve a God who uses things of the natural to teach us a spiritual truth about how to become better Christians and be more effective soldiers in the army of the Lord. Because when you look at the ant from a spiritual microscopic view, there are three things that you will notice. And the first thing that you notice from the ant is that they are productive. They are always building up the colony. They don't have no guide or overseer over them, but their objective is to build a colony up. And that, my brothers and sisters, should be our objectives too. To be productive in kingdom business, productive in our witness, productive in our walk with the Lord, productive in our homes, and productive in church as well as our community. Well, the second thing that we learn from the ants is that they are persistent. They never give up. You can put an ant killer on these small creatures, and the ones that will survive will go build another mound. And that's a word for somebody. Because sometimes trials and tribulations, they show up and disturb us in our walk with the Lord. But we don't have to give up. We don't have to give in. We have to get up, dust ourselves off, and start building again. The third thing that we learn from the ants is that they work in perfect harmony. In other words, they help one another. You see, brothers and sisters, I've never actually seen ants fight each other. But should in case step on any one of them, all of them will congregate and come to fight you. And that is a lesson that we need to learn as Christians. We need to learn from the ants how to operate in perfect harmony. How to pray for one another, encourage one another, and bear one another's burden and fulfill the law of Christ. And just like the ant goal is to build up the colony, that should be our goal too. To build up the body of Christ wherever we find ourselves. So let me just recap the points that we just spoke of. The first is that the ants are productive. So we should be productive. The second is they are persistent. They never give up. We should be persistent. We should never give up. And the last one is that they work in perfect harmony. We need to work in perfect harmony wherever we find ourselves. This has been Flowers Bar coming over today. Till we meet again. Adios.